Hi, it's me, and this is the September 2020 Built From Scratch monthly update. So I'm just going to start this one with a quick overview of the last month, just to point out that it really has been quite a patchy month. There have been many interruptions, some to do with COVID-19 stuff, some to do with pre-planned holidays, and some to do with having to change houses due to this building work that we're having done. It's had a bigger effect than simply time taken out of the project. The loss of time has been substantial. I haven't counted how many days work that I have done, but it has been quite a few that I've had off. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. I reckon out of 4 weeks work I did probably about 9 or 10 days work, I reckon. But like I say, it actually has a bit more of an effect than just the time off. When I started the project a few weeks ago, I was turning up to work literally every day, really energised and up for it, and did some really good days work. But I've found that these last few weeks, I've just been, every day that I've come in, I've had to sit down and actually think about what I'm supposed to be doing to kind of get back on track, and it's kind of zapped me of energy and enthusiasm to a degree. However, it's not a problem. I haven't actually lost enthusiasm for the project overall. It's just a sort of temporary feeling. And I think very soon, literally in the next day or two's work, when I'm done with the stuff that I'm doing at the moment, hopefully I'll get that feeling back that I'm excited to do some work. So on with the quantitative measurements of the project, which, as you might be able to guess, are as unimpressive as last month. Let me just bring up what I've spent, because I have spent a little bit more. Okay, I don't even know how to do that in the accounting software. Come on, it must be around here somewhere. Profit and loss, here we go. That can't be right. I think it's gone down. Oh, right, well, I'll have to check that out later. According to this, I'm down £641. I am fairly sure it's more than that now. I think it's edging more towards £1,000. But I'll figure that out in time for next month. Last 30 days revenue, as you can imagine, 0. Last 30 days website traffic, well, I haven't checked. I know that it's basically nothing. I still think that I'm not getting any kind of legit traffic. The only thing I can mention, it's not on my list of quantitative measures, and I don't think it will be because it's not core to what I'm doing, but I have noticed that a couple of people have followed the Wave to the Twitter account. And they're not just random Russian bots, they are genuine people. On a sort of downside, they're both people who do this kind of entrepreneurial media output thing. So I guess they're the type of people who probably look for anyone doing this kind of thing and just follow them. So I'm not saying it's anything special, but it's kind of good to see that Twitter output of these videos has been spotted by a couple of people, and hopefully that will grow over time. So moving on to the qualitative stuff. In the days that I have worked over this last month, I have kind of moved on from setting up these videos and the processing of them, which was most of the first month, and I've more been working on the website. Not content yet. That has to start at some point in the future, but not yet. It's more been kind of technical stuff. I can't really remember now. What have I been doing? The hreflang tags, the canonicalization problem, figuring out how to use images, and a few other bits and pieces that I've recorded in the daily videos. It's been a sort of a downward slope in terms of the usefulness of the tasks. Obviously, I started off with the ones that were most obviously necessary, and that has been that necessity has been decreasing as I've dealt with them. I've felt for the last 3 or 4 tasks that I've been at a point where I could kind of take it or leave it. But as it happens, things have just cropped up that have added to the list of things that feel like they do need doing. I think I'm now back at the point where I'm just about done with that. There are a couple of tasks like figuring out how to get the Twitter cards working again, which I'm very, very tempted to just delay until a few months from now, because whilst it's nice to have that kind of thing, it's really not that necessary. The only job that I do still kind of have to do is figuring out if I'm right in thinking that there is a way of cloning individual pages between WordPress sites, because if that's possible to do, it'll save me so much time in processing the videos that it's worth figuring out now rather than wasting that time for a few months. But once that is done, I think I might actually be moving on. In terms of what's worked or been enjoyable, I suppose the good thing about working with any sort of technical changes to a website is that they do tend to be challenging. Certainly when you're working with something like WordPress that has enough kind of flexibility and uncertainty to it that it doesn't work in a sort of controlled, precise manner. Things do go wrong, plugins conflict with each other, and there are often things to figure out. The downside of which, of course, is that it can take time and be frustrating, and possibly you don't even manage to figure it out in a satisfactory way. But the flip side to that, of course, is that you often do manage to work things out in a way that works well, and that feels very satisfying, and hopefully has a genuine impact in the long term in how people interact with your website, and therefore potentially it has an impact on the success of your company. With regards to what has not worked or been unenjoyable, I sort of have covered this at the start of the video actually. I've just found the interruptions this month hard to deal with. It's an unfortunate reality that I've decided to set up this company at, without a doubt, the busiest time of my life so far. Got a wife, 2 small kids, another one coming probably around May. We're having this work done on the house, which is adding quite a lot of effort and stress and change to the current circumstances. And then other stuff that just goes on in life too. So it's a lot to deal with, and this month it's felt like it's been a bit too much, and work has kind of ground, not to a halt, but it has definitely been down in sort of first or second gear for the last few weeks. So that's not great. But it's okay. I'll carry on, and I think, I feel like we're right in the depths of it now. Things can probably only get better, fingers crossed, over the next few weeks. So one decidedly good thing about the last month with regards to how the runway is looking is that we got news of this tax rebate. So I mean, that is actually massive. And it's funny how emotions and stuff work, because my mood over these last few weeks has mostly been a bit down because of all the interruptions and the frustration that that causes. But the truth is, I should be over the moon because we've had this great financial news, which means that this project can continue a lot longer than it otherwise might have been able to, which is going to be enjoyable in and of itself, but also it greatly increases the chances that I'll make at least a minimum financial success out of this, in which case it can carry on indefinitely. So I should be feeling good, and in fact, I like saying that and reminding myself that that is the case, because I do feel really good about that. I suppose the other reason why I'm not purely just feeling great about it is because the financial benefit has come in the form of a tax rebate, so we're only getting money back that we handed out in the first place, and so it's not like we've been gifted a bunch of money, but considering we honestly thought we might have lost that money for good, it is great that we've got it back. So I should be feeling good, and I think literally a handful of days from now, when I've pulled myself out of this funk and started doing some more progressive work, I think that feeling will sink in a bit, and I'll be really looking forward to the next year or so again. My next question to myself in this section is, what impacts on family or social life have occurred? I think the reason why I've written this question in here is I want to address issues like, am I working too many hours, and is it getting in the way of family life? Or, in the future, possibly, have I earned loads of money and has it made life good for the family? Both of which are quite legitimate questions, but neither of which are going to be relevant anytime soon. This feels like too much of an early stages thing, and there's too much other stuff going on in life for me to consider not being around for the family when I need to be. So working too many hours is just not a thing, and I'm not earning any money, so there's been no kind of positive benefits like that. So, well, I suppose the one thing I can say is that simply because I'm working for myself, I am actually more available for helping out with family stuff. So I suppose that is really just the impact at the moment, is that I'm a bit flexible and available, albeit to my frustration often. So that's the answer. Maybe I should consider removing that question in the future. I don't know, maybe I'll just address it briefly. I'll leave it in there. The final question here is anticipation of the next month. I guess I've said this already. My anticipation is in the next day or two, which means it's a Friday tomorrow. Well, this is where it all goes a little bit wrong, because I was a bit slack in getting this monthly update done at the end of September. I'm actually now on the 8th of October, and so I'm talking about something that's already 8 days into the new month. Anyway, whatever. Let's say my anticipation for the next 3 weeks, the remainder of October, is that I'm going to do just a couple more days on the technicalities of the website. It's going to frustrate me and annoy me ever so slightly that I'm putting yet more time into that, but I am 99% confident this time that is going to be the end of the stuff that I feel needs doing. And then I am sorry, I know this is like some kind of becoming like a running joke, but I am actually going to start working on some of the core content, and that is going to be great, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you how I do that and how it starts going, and that's it. Yeah, that is the whole plan for the next 3 weeks, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, bye for now. It's tomorrow now, so I made that video yesterday, and I'm just adding this because the whole tone of yesterday's monthly update, the one that you just listened to, was a little bit negative, and today I've kind of perked up a little bit, got my mojo back to some extent, and I've also just been thinking about what I was saying, and I focused a lot yesterday on the fact that there have been a lot of interruptions to workflow and it's been frustrating, which is true. But there's actually another thing which I think has been having a significant effect on how I've been feeling about the project recently, and that is actually the amount of work, both over the last few weeks in large chunks, but also in an ongoing sense, that I've had to put in and will be putting in to making these videos, both the monthly updates and the standard videos, and everything that goes along with it, turning them into podcasts and the transcription and the other bits and pieces. And what am I actually trying to say? Just to acknowledge that, and the fact that I've spent a few minutes today just doing a bit of further research into if anyone has ever done this before. And according to what I can find via Google, it seems that the answer is pretty much no. And what I mean by that is, the idea of starting a business from nothing, not particularly well resourced, and importantly, heavily documenting it from the word go in this kind of style. I appreciate there are certainly people out there who have got a business up and running and then started like a project within it, which may look quite a lot like starting a business from scratch, and have documented that quite a lot, certainly in the world of online marketing. And I'm sure there's plenty of other examples that do the same sort of thing to some degree, but I can't find any examples of people actually doing this. And so this is just to note that, for my own benefit really, to continue giving me a bit of motivation and enthusiasm, that the reason why I've been feeling a little bit on edge about this whole thing is because it's taking an awful lot of time. And when you're trying to start up a business, you've got effectively an infinite list of tasks, many of which feel really quite high priority, especially when you've got a limited time in which the business needs to start making some money. It's quite a lot to do, it's quite a lot of pressure, and it feels almost crazy to add on top of that the desire to make a whole bunch of videos like this and turn them into a sort of media output. However, it's the fact that it's been hard to do and has taken up quite a lot of valuable time at a stage in the business's development where that time is in fact ultra valuable. That's what gives it its potential future value to me and the business. I imagine there are plenty of people who have thought of doing this kind of thing before and may have tried, but will have been put off by the fact that to do it even vaguely properly takes an awful lot of time and effort. So what I'm saying is simply that it's hard, but it'll be worth it. And the reason it's worth it is kind of because it's hard. And in the long run, as long as I stick at it, it should be fruitful. So I am going to stick at it because I kind of enjoy it, despite the fact that it's quite a lot of hard work and it's adding pressure onto an already pressured situation. I do quite enjoy it. So note to self, keep going, and it will be well worth it in the end.